Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich. Count that money, man. Now wipe the crust out of your eyes. Get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense, and you sound silly as hell. Good morning, 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 good people. GMGP. It is Monday, July 29th, 2024. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up, Ray G, and I appreciate everybody being in the damn building. Jay Rich, there's no music. I can't hear any music, Jay. Please, get on it. Let's go. Get the music going for the people who we got in the building. I see my man Mix Khabib in the building. What's happening with you, GMGP? Training camp hype. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ricardo in the building. Been a while, GMGP. What's up with you, Ricardo? Look at this. Got to get this bigger. Got to get this bigger. Let's get Ricardo pulled up on the screen. There we go. There we go. Ricardo, what's happening with you? I see my man Caesar in the building. George, Allen, Chris, what's going on? AJ, you was in the building last night. Appreciate everybody being here. We got a dope show lined up for you today. 90 minutes. We're going an hour and a half talking through training camp narratives, talking through all kinds of stuff. So make sure you're engaged in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's have a damn good time, man. Let's have a damn good time. But first and foremost, housekeeping. We got to let y'all know what we cooked up over the past week just in case you missed anything. So if you have not been around on the channel, make sure you pull up the show Scott and I ran last night talking about the rookie picks and the value of 2025 rookie picks due to the hype and the enthusiasm around college football stemming from this damn game. Underdog Fantasy has also played a part in this, but check out the show. Check out the conversation as we talk through how this game and how college football is going to reshape the way that we play fantasy football and the way that we dynasty moving forward. It is truly uncharted waters, so check it out. Let me know in the comments what you think below. Also, we have some dogs drop on the channel. Luther Burton right here. You see the dog from Missouri, one of the best wide receivers in the country. Put out a video, how he wins, routes, datas. Make sure you check that out on the channel as well. And then we got one pulled up from Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, I think this is a guy that could declare as a wide receiver. I think he's a little better at wide receiver than he is at cornerback. Hunter is a dynamic playmaker out of Colorado. Will be one of the best players in the country in 2024. Very excited about him, so make sure you check out that content on the channel as well. We got Luther Burton, Travis Hunter, and Tech McMillan all up there already starting on the 2025 class here over at DD. And one of the coolest things that I want to announce is a new partnership that we have. This is an amazing partnership that's going to allow us to continue to create, to build some of the best tools in the fantasy football space, because this young man, one of the sharpest, smartest fantasy football creators that I know, and I'm very excited because officially moving forward, the daddy himself, Dynasty Daddy, has committed to Team Destination Devi. DD and Dynasty Daddy, DD times DD, a lot of D's around here coming together to create some of the best fantasy football shit in the market on the planet. So stay tuned. We got some nice stuff getting dropped and announced over the next couple of weeks. But shout out to Dynasty Daddy. Visit the website, dynastydaddy.com. Officially partnering with Destination Devi, an exclusive partnership, only building the newest tools for the platform over here at DD. So shout out to Dynasty Daddy. Check out his site, best tools in the fantasy game. Really, really excited about what we're going to be able to do with Jeremy, his company, his tools. Man, it's going to be a good time over here for fantasy football. Jay Rich, got to get you to the screen, baby. How you doing this morning? How are you, my friend? Oh, Jay, where you at? Where's Solo Jay? Hold on. Where's Solo Jay Rich? It's a black screen. It's a blank screen. Hold on. I'm going to get Jay on here. Hold on, Jay. There you go. There I go. It's all.
Oh, my God.
Let's get me back up and then put you on. There we go. Jay Rich, how you doing?
There we go. I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, sorry to the people. I was trying to do the sound effects, trying to play the music.
Dude, you have one job. One job.
Hey,
one job.
I have nothing I could do.
One job.
Eventually,
Clearly.
the truth comes out, and I love it. But I'm good, man. I'm good. It was a good week. Olympics started. For people who didn't watch
Yes.
the Olympics, I mean, I'm not a big Olympic buff. I know you're bigger into the track and some of that stuff. You watch some of the basketball. But yeah, the Olympics started. It's always cool to see the storyline, stuff that comes out of there. The opening ceremony was interesting, but I think the Olympics are pretty cool. And most importantly, Ray, I don't know if you saw this, but did you see the Canadian Olympic team for soccer got docked 6 points for apparently spying with a drone on their opponent?
I did not see that. I heard about it. I didn't. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Crazy, right? But I think the harder part about something like that is you see that the players, how upset they are, how sad they are. Like, it's one of those things where you see suspensions come down for the Olympics all the time, and it's like you realize that these people train like for 3-4 years just to get this one opportunity. We talk about a year-to-year game. Like, this is a every 4-year thing. So the stories and stuff that come out of the Olympics are always very, very cool, very, very exciting, and one to definitely follow. But we are here to talk about football, Ray, because
no, we're not going to talk about
week.
Olympic. No,
Really?
we're not going to say anything about Olympics, and then you're talking about Canada and not Team USA doing the thing. LeBron James, Kevin Durant getting it done, beating down Serbia. Jason Tatum, minutes.
But we're not going to talk about Sudan, though, right? We're not going to talk about how they almost lost.
That was pre-Olympics. That was pre-Olympics. That stuff did not matter. But we do need to get to some news, Jay Rich, because there were some signings. There were some NFL signings. Some people got some bags. Let's start out with the biggest bag, I believe. Jordan Love, Jay Rich. Jordan Love. Green Bay Packers came to terms with Jordan Love. Got another extension, $220 million for Jordan Love. $55 million a year, $160 million guaranteed. Jordan Love on an annual basis is tied with Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. It's the highest paid players in the NFL. Jordan Love, after one season, Jay, of starting quarterback play, the Green Bay Packers said, we've seen enough. We love this guy. He's making the highest paid quarterback in the league. How are we feeling about a player, Jay, that you and I, or at least me, was not as anti-bearish as the entire community going into last season? We kind of went back and forth on the show with Jordan Love. We were in some weeks, and then some weeks we were out. But going into the season, he was a player that I said I do not believe is going to be as bad as so many people wanted him to fail for whatever reason. $220 million. Does it change how you feel about Jordan Love? What do you think about the deal? T-Law, Burrow, and Jordan Love, not the three names I would view at the top of the list for the highest paid quarterbacks, but the market is the market, Jay. So talk about Jordan Love in this contract.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that the Packers pretty much had to do at this point. They placed all their bets on Jordan Love in the draft 5 years ago, right? Or 4 years ago, whatever it was, as the successor to Aaron Rodgers, held on to 3 years, gave him that 2-year deal to prove that he deserved that bigger contract. Ultimately, he did prove it, beating your Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs and showing that there's a lot of upside for this team, which I believe was the youngest in the league last year. Great on defense. They signed Kenny Clark. We talked about that last week. And now they finally signed Jordan Love. This offense is ready to go going forward. And I think the hardest part for me with something like this is that you take a player like Jordan Love, who's, QB 20 or so, maybe QB 25, can be a little bit higher at times depending on how you look at it. But now he's paid like a top quarterback in the league. He's at the top there with, as you mentioned, Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. What does that do for his value? And can he continue to perform at that level to where he is still worthy of these higher draft picks? Because when you
do you think he will?
Do
you think he will then? Do you think he will?
I believe that he can. And that's the reason why I was buying in the first place. But that's where it becomes more difficult when you're already a top 10, top 12 guy and being paid like it. You have the contract security. We like the team, the roster, the coach. But you still have to deliver on that cost. And that's the hard part with some of these players at, these top 5 paid quarterbacks in general. They're all very well paid. Great job security, but they still have to perform. And just because you get the contract doesn't mean you're going to. Jordan Love is one of those guys I believe has an extremely high touchdown ceiling as well. We saw that last season where he threw 30 touchdowns in what we saw as limited volume, and especially playing for LaFleur. I think there's a lot of upside for Love. But how do you feel about Jordan Love now? Because, you've been asking me, but how do you feel about him? And do you think he can be a top 8 quarterback for fantasy football?
Let's just say I'm just looking at some rankings right now, and it looks like Jordan Love is being valued as the QB9 in Dynasty, 25 years old. He is ahead of Justin. He's ahead of Justin Herbert. He's ahead of Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, et cetera, et cetera. Right ahead of him, Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts.
That's tough. That's it. There's nowhere really for him to go in some respects, but down.
Yeah, it seems like he's slotted probably appropriately, maybe a little aggressive here.
Because there's
at
Kyler,
QB9.
there's Jaden, right? In terms
Maybe
of
a
actual
little
production.
aggressive. Maybe a little aggressive, but
that's what happens, right? It's an overcorrection.
Good for Jordan Love. Bet on himself,
Yes.
Went out there. It didn't start off great. There were some moments where there were a lot of people saying that he was a bust, wasn't going to pan out. And then after, I believe it was the Rams game, things turned around for him, led them to the playoffs. He was one win away from an NFC championship appearance. So good for Jordan Love, but he was not, Jay, the only one who was paid, because another quarterback that we have been waiting for and anticipating, he got the bag as well. He says, show me the money. Tua Tagovailoa was paid. What was he paid? $212.4 million, 4-year deal, $167 million guaranteed. Under his first year under Mike McDaniel, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions, led the league in passer rating, 105.5 during his first season. In 2023, my dog went out there and threw for an NFL high, 4,624 yards, career best 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions for Tua. Back-to-back good seasons for Tua. Last year was crazy good for him, and now he's the 4th highest paid player in the NFL. Broke hip Tua that people thought would not make it. It looked real bad under Brian Flores early on. Got paid, got the bag. How we feeling about Tua, who's being valued as QB 16 in Dynasty today, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I think the sad part for Tua is I don't feel any differently about him than I did before. The job security at least is there, which is good. I think the problem for Tua, and we see this from time to time, and we see it with Dak Prescott, actually. He's a pretty good example of something like this. A very high-performing player that we know has a high ceiling, but in terms of value and where they're going to ascend, that's where you tend to struggle. And I think Tua is one of those guys that we'll see over the years that he's probably going to put up the numbers, especially with Tyreek Hill still on the team and Jalen Waddle and that offense being as good as it is. But he just almost threw for 5,000 yards last year, and he's not even a top 12 quarterback, right? Yeah. And the sentiment for him has not changed ever since he was shaken and, he was...
the concussion stuff. You talking about the concussions?
Yeah, I feel like people are a bit jaded by that, but also the fact that maybe people view it as a bit of a scheme fit, and it's more Tyreek Hill and it's more Mike McDaniel than Tua. We see similar things with Jared Goff, right? Phenomenal team around him, but he's never going to be a top 12 quarterback, more likely than not. He may produce at that level, but if you're expecting a return on value for when you draft Tua, that's probably not going to happen. But I think it's very interesting. You see a player like Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa. I believe they were in the same draft class or they're a year apart, but very different in value, very different in how people feel about them. But the numbers and the stats actually probably lean on Tua's side more than they lean on Jordan Love's side.
It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because I'm looking at Miami, and when you've got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and you have all this offense, Jay, that put up, they scored 70 points on the Broncos, something ridiculous, 60 points, something like that, one of the best offenses in the NFL. It feels like there's going to start to become some pressure that Mike McDaniel starts to feel on the seat, and you have to imagine what that's going to look like if they don't make it to the playoffs this year, or they don't win, they don't advance, they don't move forward. This is going to be a difficult. AFC East is no joke. Aaron Rodgers is back. Yep. He is back. He is going to play this year. Buffalo Bills still have Josh Allen, and say what you want about the New England Patriots, it's going to be a different team than what it was underneath Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia and all these other random yoo-hoos and Mac Jones there. So good for Tua. Good for Tua. Tyreek Hill seemed to be happy. He tweeted out, "My quarterback got the bag. Tua was at training camp. Show me the money," getting the crowd excited. So 2 really big signings across the NFL, which leads us to the next news topic item, Jay Rich. Amidst all of this, there are reports that the Dallas Cowboys currently have offers out to both Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. I say that with a bit of trepidation, skepticism, lack of enthusiasm, because this just feels like a missed opportunity for Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. It feels like Dak
Okay.
Prescott has them by the balls. I'll just say it like that, by the balls. And if I'm Dak, I'm not signing shit. If I'm Dak, we somehow get eliminated or things start to look bad and they're ready, getting Trey Lance ready, which we'll talk about here shortly. I'm out of there. Like, this is not good for my Dallas Cowboys, Jay. I do not buy that they have a deal, or at least it's probably not the deal that Dak Prescott's looking for. With Tua and Jordan Love getting $55 million, there are also reports that Brock Purdy's going to command a deal over $300 million, $60 million per year. Just talk about where's Dallas at right now. They're going to get a CeeDee Lamb deal done. I'm very confident in that. CeeDee Lamb will be a Dallas Cowboy. But Dak Prescott, and if Dallas does not sign Dak Prescott, there'll be 10 teams lined up to give him a contract in the offseason. So what do you think? Does Dallas actually get something done, or is Dak going to play out this year and take his services elsewhere?
I think that's really tough because you don't just have Dak. Like you mentioned, you do have CeeDee Lamb and you have Micah Parsons. And I don't know what your thoughts are on kind of like how you would rank the priority list, but it is surprising to see that there's no contract out to Micah, right? We have a framework of a deal for CeeDee Lamb because Justin Jefferson got re-signed, right? And so if you're looking at parallels, they are not quite the same, but in terms of talent and what you'd expect a contract to be, very similar. Micah, there's lots of top defensive linemen that have great contracts. It's the quarterback one that you go, man, do we really want to pay Dak $60 million? And that's where it's very difficult. You talk about Jordan Love and, the
I don't
Packers,
think you pay Jordan Love 55. Dak has been more accomplished than Jordan Love.
Okay, Ray. There was a game actually in January.
I
believe it was actually in Dallas, right? I think was it in Dallas?
Joe Burrow also beat Patrick Mahomes too. Does that mean he is bet like teams lose games? Come on, man. Come on, man. We live in a world where it's what have you done for me lately? Not what have you done for me in the past. There's no world in which you think Jordan Love is more accomplished or more deserving or bet. Absolutely not. Like, no way.
I never said that. Okay. But he plays on a younger team with much more cap space, right? They don't have two other stars to play on the team that, in my opinion, are more important.
It's not Dak Prescott's fault that they've screwed up the cap.
No, I'm not blaming Dak for that, but I'm saying, should he be on the team? In my opinion, I would sign CeeDee, I would sign Micah, and I would go another direction. Now, I probably wouldn't go the Trey Lance direction, but I believe that that's probably the better scenario for the Cowboys. They have a great defense. They can work through the defense, try and figure it out with a younger quarterback, build through the team instead of trying to build through the quarterback. They've tried that for the past 6 seasons with Dak Prescott? I don't think that's the way for them to win. They've tried it. They need to go another direction at this point. So if it was me, I would be letting Dak go. Like you said, they put out a contract to Dak. That doesn't mean anything because it could be a dog shit deal that he's not going to accept. And they're just saying that for the media. So in my opinion, Micah should be number 1, CeeDee should be number 2, and Dak should be a far and away third in terms of priority of signing these guys. Wow. In my opinion, yeah. I think they've tried to do this.
Let me ask you this. What do you think? Do you think an NFL team has a shot to win with Dak, with CeeDee Lamb, and with Micah Parsons and no quarterback? It's not happening, dude. I don't care how many Micahs you have.
You don't think a team can win? Yeah, but they don't. I think you can build more through the team. And that's just a better direction to go. For me, that's just what I see.
I guess for me.
Because you probably can't keep them all, right?
I lived through some real rough times. You've got Chad Hutchinson. You've got Vinny Testaverde, Quincy Carter, Drew Henson. All these random sorry-ass quarterbacks. From the time Troy Aikman left, there have been 3 competent passers that the Dallas Cowboys have seen. Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. I mean, that's it. I mean, it has been finding. I think people think that finding NFL quarterbacks is like an easy feat, or that we live in an age where the NFL, you don't need a quarterback. You could just go do the 2000 Baltimore Ravens thing and just win. Yeah. It's not happening. Like, you have no shot. You've got no shot. Think about that. Even with Tua, even with Josh Allen, can't even get there.
Yeah, but I think it is a little bit different when you talk AFC versus NFC.
I'm just talking about the talent at the position and what's required to move to the next level. You got to have you either have to catch fire and become Matthew Stafford of 2021, right? When you got the Triple Crown winner, you got Aaron Donald, first ballot Hall of Famer on your defensive line. It's going to be interesting to see what Dallas does, because the reports are Trey Lance, as expected, is going to get a lot of playing time in Cowboys preseason games per coach Mike McCarthy. And what I've seen and read is you probably do not want him under center at any point early this season. So any hope, Jay Rich, that you would stash Trey Lance as the potential heir apparent to Dak Prescott?
If you can have him on your roster, or you can get him cheap enough, maybe you just want to try and play the game of that value bump throughout August. But you have to sell him before the season starts, absolutely. But I mean, to your point, practice ain't look so good. That means preseason probably won't look so good. I think that's one of the bigger problems when you look at this situation for the Cowboys. I can't blame Dak for not playing. I can't blame these other guys for not playing him. But I do want to ask you, Ray, because
I'm with D-Bro, though. I just want to say I am with D-Bro. I would prioritize them. I would prioritize them. I'd say Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, however you want to do it. Micah would be third for me. But I believe he would be third for me. Micah would be the third priority. And I'll leave it at that. It would be Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. But here's what I think. This is just my opinion. I am not a Cowboys beat reporter. All I'm doing is I watch the team. I live down here. I'm following. I think they're gearing up for this. Just the moves that they did not make, the lack of activity. They just lost Sam Williams, defensive end, which is a big loss, which is going to force Marshawn Nealon to have to play earlier. They lost Tyler Biotish and Tyron Smith. The offensive line is not what it used to be. They didn't go out and sign a competent running back. All reports are Ezekiel Elliott looks fine, but nothing special. So what expectation level do I have for this team this fall? This really feels like the Cowboys' window to really win it, Jay, like for real, passed them a couple of years ago. The true window feels like it's gone, and this feels like a team that, like, I'll just say this. Joe Biden might not be the only old white man that needs to step down from their post. He may not be the only old one, and I will leave it at
he's not the oldest one, that's for
that.
Sure.
I don't know, man. Both of them are quite old. But let's talk about training camp and the hype. Do you have the music ready? Can you get me excited, Jay Rich? That's what I'm talking about. Hype,
there you go.
Hype. Where's some air horns at? We need some air horns. Hype, because we're talking about everything. We got to send D-Bro a link right now to get up here on the screen. Just to get up here to talk some damn hype, D-Bro. All right, you get to cut the music, Jay. Cut the music. Let's pull it up. First player that we're going to talk about, Jay, is it's the top dog. It's the number one pick in the draft. Okay. It's the top damn dog, Jay. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is out here running around, Jay, throwing Patrick Mahomesian level throws to Keenan Allen. Hearing a lot of reports about Tyler Scott being the guy that has really surprised and shocked people here at training camp. But there was a lot of unfounded hate, I believe, against Caleb Williams throughout the process because he painted his nails or he showed emotion with his mom, and therefore he's soft, doesn't have what it takes. Everything that I'm reading, everything that I'm seeing is this kid is the real damn deal. Justin who? We ain't even worried about no Fields, man. Justin who? I have not seen one Bears fan talk about how much they miss that how bad the Bears franchise did Justin Fields wrong. Wish he would be our quarterback. Not one soul. Not one living soul in Chicago is thinking about that. Caleb Williams, Jay, are you buying that this rookie is going to come in and not just be good, not just show flashes, Jay Rich? Are you buying that Caleb Patrick Mahomes Williams is going to be a top 10 quarterback out the gate?
Top 10 quarterback. Okay.
Out the gate.
I would say no.
Out the gate.
I would say no. Let's say, can we say like in the first month? Or are we saying like basically for sure out the gate?
The first year, man. Out the gate is the first year. Not
no.
fucking first week, man. The whole year. Yes. Out the gate.
Man, out the gate is out the gate.
Rookie
That's
year.
all I'm saying.
Rookie year is out the gate.
So in terms of Caleb, I would say no. I think they will lean on the running game a little bit. And we've talked about this a lot. We don't know what to expect from the offense, right? We love the playmakers. There's tons of them, right? Best situation a rookie quarterback has maybe ever had. Now, don't quote me on that, but it is damn good. They have a lot of good playmakers, a lot of dynamic playmakers, a lot of guys that can put up a ton of yardage, but you still got to have the right guy calling the plays because Caleb, as young as he is, probably can't make up for the lack of play calling, right? An older Caleb Williams, a more experienced Caleb Williams in the NFL could potentially do that down the line. But right now, I don't know if he can do that. And so it's not for a lack of confidence in Caleb, because I believe he will be a phenomenal quarterback for years to come. He is a savior of the Bears. And Ray, we don't even talk about this. The worst trade in NFL history was made on that same, or the year before draft night, with the Houston Texans and the Arizona Cardinals, when in reality, Ray, it might have been the Carolina Panthers trading up to draft Bryce Young, which ultimately led to the Bears getting Caleb Williams.
There's no might have been about it. There's no might have been about it. I had a Bryce Young clip loaded up. And I opted not to show it. I'm trying to be kind. I'm trying to be nice today. But let's stick with the Chicago Bears. And I'm going to show you this and talk about what I've read about their second first-round pick, Rome Odunze. You see him right here against one of the best corners in the NFL, Jalen Johnson. I heard this practice, Jalen Johnson was just all over Rome Odunze. Couldn't get anywhere. But I loved it. The reason why I love this is he's going up against one of the best, Jay. He's not going up against some fourth-string corner, some guy that's going to be on the practice squad. He's going up against one of the best, and he's right there. And I think this is only going to help Rome Odunze's maturation down the line. I'm not worried about any of this stuff. I've seen a couple of people getting clamped up by Jalen Johnson. Yeah. That's what happens when you go against Jalen Johnson, right? That's what he's supposed to do, and that's still a rookie wide receiver. But from what I've read and from what I've seen, it does look like it's DJ Moore, Keenan Allen is the clear top two dogs in Chicago. But there's still a lot of hype and enthusiasm for what Odunze is going to eventually evolve into. Are you concerned about any of this? Or are you like me, Jay? This is I don't want to call it a nothing burger. I think it is something that he's being guarded physically by the team's top corners, and I love it. I like this for Rome Odunze. How do you feel about any negative report that you may have seen about him not being able to separate against Jalen Johnson, or and I believe the Bears' defense towards the back half of the season was one of the best in the NFL as well, Jay. So talk about Rome Odunze.
Yeah, so for as much flack as Matt Eberflus has got, he's actually put together a pretty good defense, and Jalen Johnson is a big part of that. And, there's the famous quote that the guys on defense get paid too, right? Like, they get paid to make plays just as much as the offense does. And Rome Odunze going against Jalen Johnson is great for his development, because in theory, it's only going to get easier a lot of times for him. He's not going against the team's top corner. That's the duty of DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Rome Odunze getting these reps in practice is only going to further his development. I think we're going to see this a bit throughout the offseason, though, and even into the regular season. The highs and lows of Rome, people are in, people are out, because we don't expect to see a lot of production. We may be on the field, and I think ultimately people need to understand we shouldn't be looking for production. We should be looking for snaps. We should be looking for routes, because that opportunity will come for him down the line, especially into the following season. And it's about building chemistry with Caleb Williams and earning a role in this offense. We cannot expect any player, even Marvin Harrison Jr., to come into this team and command targets when there is two all-pro players playing in this offense. Yeah. So I think for Rome, we know the talent is there. And when you compare him to Malik Nabers and clips of Malik Nabers burning the Giants DBs, but you see the comparisons, right? You see the comparisons of Malik Nabers burning Giants DBs that are horrible, compared to Rome Odunze getting strapped by an all-pro, one of the highest paid corners in the league. It's like, this is not the same thing. You're comparing apples to oranges, but I'm very excited for Rome. I think he's going to be a very good wide receiver in the league. It's just a matter of if, not when. And I think the biggest challenge will be, can you be patient to wait for it to come? Because I think it will definitely come. It's just going to be a matter of time for Rome.
Yeah, well, we have said this from the entire that our expectation for Rome Odunze is not out the gate production. That is not what we are anticipating. That's not our expectation level. He's going to be on the field. He's going to get targets, but it's going to be less than DJ Moore. He's not going to be targeted like Keenan Allen. And I'm just telling you, folks, just adjust the expectation level. But I'm not worried. I'm not tripping. I think this is good. And as Patrick said in the chat, iron does, in fact, sharpen iron. Now let's get to some other rookies, Jay Rich. Oh, baby, get the wake up music, baby, because this is why you draft this type of player, Jay. I don't give a damn if you thought he was the best receiver in the class. It doesn't matter that he's 142 pounds. I don't care about the data of every NFL player who ran a 4.2 at the combine being a bust. This is why you draft Xavier Eugene Worthy in rookie draft. This is why. Jay Rich, right here, Patrick Mahomes. Let's do a little rollout. You know, we're gonna launch it across the field. Kermit the Frog, and look who's down there. Xavier Worthy getting past that. Oh, is that the number one defense? That's Steve Spagnuolo's defense, Jay Rich. Xavier Worthy down the field early in training camp, but I'm going to show you one better. Jay Rich, I'm going to show you one better. You ready for a better one than that? Because we know he can stretch the field, right? But can he play physical? Can he play physical? Well, let's watch right here. He is being grabbed. Watch, he's coming across the field. Grab, pass interference, draped all over him. Let's go. Get big, X. Yeah, see, Jay, this shit right here, man, it gets me tingling. This is football. Give me that, baby. I'm big. Touchdown. I don't care that you got the PI on me. You see X Worthy out there doing it, Jay, and people are excited. Cut the music, Jay. Cut the damn music. This is why people are excited. This is why you get a player like Xavier Worthy. Talk about it, Jay. The hype is there. The hype is real, baby.
I just need to know, Ray, do you think he's going to do that on Sundays? Because the biggest issue with Xavier Worthy is that he can do that, but it's a little few and far between for the contested catches for Worthy. It's probably one of the only holes in his profile. We know the speed is there. We know he can run great routes, but that is not something you will see very often from Xavier Worthy.
Hey, man,
so that was good to see. But the offense is going to be great, right? Like all the
blood
reports.
Is flowing. I'm looking
Mahomes,
at the chat. Rico said the blood is flowing. Ty said, I'm big.
Oh, God.
Let's go.
It'll be interesting. With Worthy, it's always, can we keep our expectations reasonable? It's not about getting overexcited or not, overdrafting for the potential what if, because we know the ceiling is phenomenally high. It's, can you just get a decent value and then hold for that eventual rocket ship, because it is coming. And as you mentioned, the clip alone, I mean, that sends his ADP through the roof. Last week when there was the bomb in practice, sent his ADP through the roof. Yeah. So this is going to continue to happen. So the big key here is,
he's a good player.
If you have him, hold him, don't trade him, because he's probably going to be great. And I do expect a big rookie year from Worthy. Every year we try to peg a guy in Kansas City, but I do expect him to do big things in this offense, because there is going to be opportunity, whether Rashee Rice is suspended or not. So I'm very excited for Worthy. I think there's a lot of good things for him. Ray, what do you think his ceiling is? Do you think we could see a Devon Achane type of ascension for Xavier Worthy in 2024?
Let me tell you something. I've seen this story play out time and time again. Those type of players who do those things, big plays, chunk plays, 50 yards, 70 yards, 80 yards, speed, those are the type of players that fantasy gamers cannot help themselves with. They just can't. Mm-hmm. We can't. We want the guy that's not dependent on 12 targets in order to score us points. The player that can literally change the math and an outcome in a game in one strike. And then when you have that type of player paired with this type of quarterback, right? Like, it's not just Xavier Worthy here that we're talking about. It's not just X Worthy that we're discussing. It's the fact that Patrick Mahomes, for the past 2 seasons, has been one of the worst at throwing the ball down the field, right? Yes. And it ain't his fault. It ain't Mahomes' fault. He's had trash cans with arms on the outside post Tyreek Hill. Literally, just pick up the trash can and then put arms here, and that's MVS and Justin Watson trying to catch the ball. Trash can with goddamn arms, Jay Rich. That's MVS and Justin Watson.
I hope that's a clean bag.
It is not. It is not a clean bag of trash. The people come today. But the point is, Jay, this is not just about Worthy. When you've got this type of offense, you've got this coach, you've got this type of quarterback, your imagination is, hell, Mahomes is a walking 4,500-yard passer. He's launching 50 damn touchdowns a season. And you've got the fastest player in NFL history. And you also have this guy, Jay, because we're not just done. It ain't just X Worthy from KC. Look at this. Oh, yeah, number 5 right here. You know who that is? It's Hollywood Brown. And there he goes. Post, number 1 defense again, just right down the field. Look at him. Hit the stem. Boom. He set him up so beautifully. Great stem. Break it off. Split the safety in the corner. Touchdown. I mean, I am very excited for Patrick Mahomes. And the report and some beat reporters on Hollywood Brown. This is Patrick Mahomes. No one told me how much he can actually do on the football field, admitted Mahomes. He can run the over-the-middle routes. He can run really good routes, and he can run deep. It's not like fast. It's not like fast is the only thing that he can do. That's from Patrick Mahomes, Jay, talking about Hollywood Brown. So when you're just saying this offense and how this can turn over and be very good for everyone, I'm excited. And somebody in the chat asked about Rashee Rice and his suspension.
We'll know when we know. That's it.
I don't know if it's going to happen this year, man.
That's what we keep seeing, that more and more, that it may not happen. And I think the reason why that happened, Ray, and people in the chat, feel free to comment on this, because I don't remember if I saw this correctly or not, but he has a court date in like December or something like that. And so it was a similar situation with Kamara, because if you remember, Kamara had a court date scheduled during the season, and they pushed it back to after the season, and then so there was no judgment because of that. So I think there could be potential for a similar situation where Rashee Rice doesn't have his court date till in season, and then they end up pushing it back, so he doesn't get suspended until after the judgment has come down on everything in terms of the case. So we may not see that, but I am very enthused by Hollywood, and we've made this comparison time and time again with Tyreek Hill, and it's not about the skill set. It's about talking about Tyreek Hill when he wasn't going down the field, when he was forced to do more underneath and shorter stuff with more yak ability. That was when he had 159 targets, 111 receptions, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. It's not the 1,700 we've seen in Miami, but this is when you saw Tyreek Hill develop into a complete wide receiver in Kansas City with a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of short passes, and that is the role that I believe Hollywood can fill very, very well, because the skill set is there. The elite speed doesn't have to be there to thrive in that role in Kansas City, and we've seen the success of that role for fantasy football. So I think if you look back to that 2021 season of what Tyreek Hill was forced to do and how they played him because there was so much too high against Patrick Mahomes, it forced Tyreek Hill to play different, and I think that Hollywood can live and thrive in a similar type of role. But yeah, I think that Hollywood would be my number one right now. And then the question is, Ray, would you take a bet on Worthy over Rice, especially if we don't think Rice is going to get suspended?
I don't think this is either this over that, or I just want pieces of that offense. All right, let's not be silly here. I see we got our first person. Shout out Pete Town 13. It's the first person that wants some attention today, so let me go ahead and give him some attention. He is blowing up the chat about how he knows Xavier Worthy is going to be pressed on the line, not going to be able to get open, hard pass. Okay, you don't like Xavier Worthy. Fine. Don't draft him. You don't have to draft him. But the reality is he's going to be on the field. He's going to have opportunity, and he's a talented player playing with the best quarterback in the NFL and the best play caller in Andy Reid. Don't overthink shit. Like, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? If you want to take this player over him, fine. But ultimately, he's going to be on the field with a quarterback who's capable of throwing for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Go take Marvin Mims then. Get your 2,800 yards and pray to God that he gets 40% of it. Jay, let's keep the hype train rolling, baby. You ready for some hype? This is... Jay, get ready. Yeah, I think people's pants are going to be flat off, Jay, because there's been no more hype than this player yesterday. And I mean, it was just permeating across the time. Now, hit the music, Jay. Hit the damn music. Let's hype him up. Your boy, Javon Baker, the touchdown maker. Look at this, dog. Adjustment in the air, going up against the cornerback wearing number 47. It's never good. Never good when the DB wears number 4. When they've got 47 on, this is always barbecue chicken. I'm talking about Traeger, Rectech, it doesn't matter. Weber, Green Egg, barbecue, smoke, red ring chicken. Javon Baker did it down the field in reports where he was murdering defensive backs. Christian Gonzalez, didn't matter who he's up against, could not stop him in one-on-one drills. Javon Baker, the touchdown maker. Talk about him, Jay. Andrew Callahan from the Patriots, beat writer, said, Baker, it's worth repeating, simply moves different from the rest of the receivers. He boasts more burst and sprints, almost with a non-contact form of violence, whatever that means. What do you think about Javon Baker, baby?
Baker's interesting, right? Because we know there's a lot of opportunity on this offense. And I think the bigger point for me here is that you almost have conflicting reports. You hear reports that Baker is looking really good and performing well, but you also hear that he's kind of running with the twos. He's 4th or 5th on the depth chart. And for a depth chart that's wide open, you just hope he can work his way up. Now, he wasn't drafted like Jalen Polk to come in and have an immediate impact on the team. Polk should be a guy that comes in, gets a decent target share, works in the offense, and has been performing well. But Baker's the guy that you want potentially as the X. And the X to Drake May, if everything goes right, should be pretty good. And so that's what I think is more interesting, and where, you look to a few seasons ago when we were really tracking Ramondre Stevenson as a guy who could potentially do something. I think Baker's in a very similar spot, right? Because I recall Terry McLaurin when he went to Washington, and in a wide open depth chart, he became the number 1 and had a phenomenal rookie season. We don't expect that of 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks, but you have to at least acknowledge there is a potential path to relevant playing time and opportunity, even on a bad team. And if Drake May is the starter, or it's Jacoby Brissett, Jacoby Brissett threw that ball, it looked pretty good. So I think Baker's just a guy you have to be very aware of, especially because the community loves him. And that's where I struggle, because it's not like he's a guy that no one's really paying attention to and no one really cares for. You see a practice clip like that, and he's going up immediately. The moment Javon Baker does anything, he's got that dog in him, and his value's going to go up. So you really have to watch that a little bit, and there could be a sell high opportunity, but you also have to acknowledge there could be a very high upside for Baker as well in this Patriots offense. If we want it to be different and we expect different things, there could also be a different way they go about their player development as well, and Baker would be a big part of that if they got him right from the draft.
Well, you talked about the quarterback, Drake May, who is running behind Jacoby Brissett. Looks like Jacoby Brissett is going to start the season, sort of what we anticipated. The veteran gets the call early on, rookie will play at some point. We know Drake May will be on the field. And I don't know if you saw this, because you are pretty excited as a New England Patriots fan. You are hoping that Drake May is the truth. You are pretty excited. Did you see this, Jay? Did you see this clip? This bucket drop, Drake May to your boy Keon Butte. To your boy Keon Butte. Look at this throw from Drake May. Even in practice, even in one-on-one drills, for me, this is a drill that is designed for the receiver to win. Everyone knows that. Everybody knows that. But this throw, the ball placement by May here, it's a damn good throw. I don't care if this is against a non-rush. You've got to put the ball in a spot that only the receiver can grab that. Drake May, man, do you think you guys found him? Do you think you found him, Jay Rich, the replacement behind Tom Brady?
You know me, Ray. I am praying that Drake May is my Justin Herbert, right? For better or worse. I don't care if he wins, but this is the guy that I saw and I thought, if anybody was going to be Justin Herbert, it was probably going to be this guy, because he has the movement and the mobility, but he also has a phenomenal arm and can make a lot of throws. And to make a throw like that, yes, it's practice, but him and Keon Butte have not had a lot of reps together. And so to put that in the bucket, especially with the defender very close, great throw. It's practice. But if that can translate to a game, all of a sudden you got something, right? And there's a potential upside there that we didn't have with Mac Jones. So I'm just praying that we see some good stuff from Drake May, because we did see some good things from Mac Jones early in his career. But ultimately, his lack of arm strength kind of played its ugly head, and the offense itself really failed him. So while I don't believe Mac Jones is horrible, I definitely expect a much higher upside for Drake May, and I'm very glad that we got him. But there is a lot of development that needs to happen, and I think that if they play it right, he can definitely be the guy. The question is, who are the pass catchers that you want? And that's where watching the preseason games, seeing who he has chemistry with, that can give you an early indication for when the time ultimately comes and he starts. That could happen. But Ray, there has been reports that he's been doing better and better. Do you think there's any world he wins this job out of camp?
No. Okay. Well, yes, I do. Yes, I think there's a world where he wins it.
And it's just the third overall pick.
Well, it seems like Gerard May on them are smart, and instead of forcing him on the field, just ease him. There's no. I would believe that the Patriots don't have the expectation that they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. The goal should be building the foundation around Drake May for future success. And if you really look at what New England's sort of done in a way, it kind of mirrors and mimics to a lesser non-extreme degree what Green Bay was able to put around young Jordan Love with some young wide receivers. They got Jalen Polk. You got a Javon Baker. So for me, while the hype and enthusiasm, I try to be a little more realistic, Jay, a little more realistic with the expectations for a lot of rookies, because I don't know why we continue to forget this, but every year we get overly hyped for these kind of players, and then the season hits and it's all the veterans out there. And then, it's very little production from these rookies. But this is a play where I think next year we could be rolling into New England Patriots training camp, and the top two receivers are Javon Baker and Jalen Polk. But I don't believe that's going to be the case out the gate. I think this is a nice core and a nice nucleus for future growth and development. But I've got little expectations still for Javon Baker in year one. But I will say, Drake May last year in college football, his number one route that he threw and scored the most fantasy points on, go route. 5 fantasy points per game on targeted go routes. Javon Baker tied with guess who for top 12 in college football at scoring fantasy points on deployed go routes. Guess who he was tied with, Jay?
I would guess Devontae Walker.
No, he was tied with his teammate, Jalen Polk. They both scored 6.89 fantasy points per targeted go route last year. So
New England Patriots diving through that true media data.
Drake May likes to do it. They drafted 2 wide receivers who were top 12 in college football last year at scoring fantasy points when they sent them down the field. Who knows? It may be a pairing made in heaven down the line. But let's go to another wide receiver, stay in the AFC, and this is the wide receiver that's getting the buzz as the top dog for the Houston Texans. It is not Tank Dell. It is not Nico Collins. And they say that route runner savant, Stefon Diggs, Jay Rich. They said he is by far the best wide receiver at Houston Texans training camp right now. Diggs is out there just doing it on whoever he wants, whenever he wants. And from what I heard, boots on the ground down in Houston, it is Stefon Diggs. He is him. He is him at Houston Texans camp and is showing great chemistry with C.J. Stroud. And that was a catch on Jalen Petrie, a very, very talented safety. So, Jay, in one of the biggest stories of the fantasy football offseason, what is the pecking order going to be in Houston? So far, early in Texans camp, Stefon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. That's what it's looking like early on. Again, they play this Thursday. We have a game this Thursday. Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans.
The Texans
sort
play.
of. Sort of.
What's crazy? Can we talk about that advertisement?
We have a game. No Stefon Diggs, no Tank Dell, but a game will be played on Thursday.
Yeah, the NFL out here with their advertisement, CJ Stroud and DJ Moore, like they're actually going to play in this game. Like, come on, man.
CJ might not even have cleats on. Yeah,
right? These guys will be in tracksuits, absolutely. But yeah, man, this is really interesting. And we've talked about this a lot. I talked about it with Vanek. I talked about it with you. But I do want to ask you a question, Ray, because I think this is very important that people need to think about. Do you think that Stefon Diggs, or actually give me a 1 to 10%, let's say percentage, that you think Stefon Diggs leads the team in targets?
You said 1 to 10? Just 1 to 10?
Yeah, give me like a 1 to 10, or, like what
leads the team in targets?
Leads the team in targets.
8.
You think, so you're fairly confident, about 80%.
No, I'm not confident, but I think based on what I'm hearing, he should lead the team in targets. It's early, but I'm just reacting to what's happening now. I'd say higher than 5.
And so what is the percentage you would say that he leads the team in fantasy points? I think those are 2 different conversations, right?
I don't fucking know, man. 30%.
So I'm kind of with you there. I wouldn't go 30. I'd probably go closer to 50. But I believe Stefon Diggs will lead the team in targets and have a higher floor week to week. But I still believe Nico Collins is going to lead the team in fantasy points and in receiving yards. So I think this is an important conversation to have, is that when you're talking about drafting Nico Collins, and I've talked about how I'm fine drafting him right now at his ADP, but to your point, Ray, you go look at the books. Nico Collins' lines slipping a little bit. Tank Dell's lines slipping a little bit.
They are.
Stefon Diggs' lines chilling. No problem.
They have not moved.
And so
that's true.
And so this is where, when we talk about this stuff, it's not just the narratives and the conversations around the team and us speculating. There is real traction to some of these narratives that are going on, and it's found across the market. So I think there is a world where Stefon Diggs right now, if you're looking at underdog, maybe one of the better values in fantasy football, because there is potential for him to perform as a higher end wide receiver 2, or maybe even a wide receiver 1. I probably wouldn't go that far. When you look at Nico Collins as well, another guy who can perform at a very high level, very high ceiling, The floor with Tank Dell is interesting, but it still seems like Tank Dell is going to be a little bit pressed for targets and opportunity. Not that he won't get it, but he could be a guy that is closer to a wide receiver 3 than a wide receiver 2 for fantasy football this season. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Diggs. I think he's in a great spot, and it seems like he's very motivated after being kicked out of Buffalo, just like he was very motivated after being kicked out of Minnesota.
Reports are he's looked damn good. Like that shit, that just flat out, he's looked damn good down there. And I think they started camp earlier than everybody. I believe they reported like on the 13th of July. So they reported early. They've been there for maybe not that early, but I think they were there early. But Stefon Diggs is looking like he's the guy. Jay, we talked about a lot of hype. We've talked about a lot of hype. Some hype you're buying, some hype you're not quite so much as in on, Jay. But I think we've got a couple of players coming up. No, turn the music off. We're not ready for that yet. Turn the music off. We've got a couple of players coming up.
They aren't that exciting.
They are pretty exciting, Jay. But we've got to take a quick break. We got to run up the likes real quick. Make sure y'all like the video. Jay, Rich, and I will be right back in 30 seconds after this quick break. Like the video. Let's go. All right, Jay, let's get to probably, we talked about this player being hype, that player being hype. This is the hype. This is the hype. And
I'm waiting.
Jay, I feel good. I went back and looked at when I started talking about Malik Nabers, and it was May of 2022. May of 2022. Now, I was half-ass wrong in the tweet because I was like, Kayshon Boutte and Jack Beck are going to get it done for LSU this year. But the second part of that tweet was Malik Nabers was next up. And 2 years later, Jay, 2 years later, GQ still could get it right sometimes, man. It is definitely looking like Malik Eugene Nabers is the truth. And it seemed like every day we were seeing stuff like this. Jay Rich, got Daniel Jones here calling out protections. You know the line is no damn good. Drop back, look off the front side player, go backside, bam! 2 feet down, Malik Nabers, get up. Tell him, I'm big. You can't do nothing with me, Jay. Literally, there were 35 clips of Malik Nabers doing the same damn thing. 35. Look at this, Jay. I'm just gonna get right to it. Watch this. Boom. We're going 9 route, 1-on-1, 2 feet down, toe tap Tony. Let's get it. Nasty. With the Guardian cap on, making the mushroom hat look swagged out. Malik Nabers, Jay Rich, I am excited. I am excited, Jay. I'm excited.
They can't keep getting away with this, man. They can't keep getting away with this. They can't keep getting away with this. I don't care,
Jay. You tricked me. Into liking Daniel Jones last year. You had me out here in these streets looking down bad, talking about Daniel Jones. I don't care. Give me all the Malik Nabers, inefficient targets. I don't give a damn about any of it. I'm in, Jay. I am in.
You're in on Jones? You're in on Nabers?
I'm in on Malik Nabers.
Just need to make sure. So, here's my problem, Ray. Malik Nabers is overrated. Currently, right now. He's a great talent. He's a phenomenal player.
Malik Nabers is not overrated. Do not pause overrated. The stream. I thought I muted you. He is not overrated. What are you talking about, Jay? What are you talking about?
Okay, so he's a guy who was drafted ahead of DJ Moore, drafted ahead of Stefon Diggs, drafted ahead of Tank Dell, and you're telling me he's not overrated? I think he's overrated. And his value is going to go up. Do you know why? Because the Giants' social media team is one of the top ones in the league. So he's only going to continue to get seamed up, only going to continue to be more and more overvalued. But the quarterback is still awful. The offensive line's still terrible. The Giants are no good. I get wanting to be in on Malik Nabers, but Ray, what's your price? Because the price isn't going down. We're excited, but we always say this about these players. We have to see them do it on the field. And we know he can do it in practice against the Giants defensive backs, which we know are some of the worst in the league. We saw that last season. They didn't get any better. So again, it's not that I'm out on Nabers, but nothing's changed. We talked about the lines for Houston moving. They haven't moved for Malik Nabers because the bookmakers don't care about what they see in practice because nothing for them is changing. So just keep in mind that the narrative and the projection for this player is not changing because he makes a catch down the sideline. That's all I'm here to say. I'm still excited for the player, but I still think he will be hamstrung by the team and by the quarterback.
Okay. I agree with you that his current underdog price of second round pick or wherever he's at, I think he's fallen a little bit. I've not looked. I've not done a BBM draft in a while. I've run out of promo money, so I need them to load me back up. So I don't know where he is currently drafted at, but Jay, it's not even. He is the most talented player that Brian Daboll has probably had since he had Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen. And there's going to be a concerted effort to get him the ball every step of the way. And Kelsey Plum's ex-husband is no longer there. They do not have any other competent receiver truly that has proven themselves next to him. Yes, I like Darius Slayton serves a role. I've got some enthusiasm for what Jalen Hyatt might be able to do on opposite of him down the field. And Wan'Dale Robinson is he's a fine player. But when you're talking about a player that threatens defensive coordinators, that makes them lose sleep at night, there's nobody else there. I can guarantee you, whoever the Giants, I believe they open up with the Vikings week 1, the game plan is to stop Malik Nabers. I guarantee you, out the gate, it's to shut down the rookie, make Daniel Jones go to other options.
Anyone else, right?
Anybody but him. I'm excited for him. You know, I think his receiving yard line was right around 850 yards. 875. Okay, so 875 yards for Nabers. Listen, you told no lies. They have the best social media team in the game. I mean, they will make any practice highlight look good. But I do believe that
27.4 ADP. So he's almost in the second round, like you said.
Yeah, he's fallen out a little bit. He's right there at the top of the third, and I think it's probably where you're going to have to draft him. I'm fine with the cost. You are making a bet on the talent and on the player and a bet against the situation, which is probably not good. But I do believe that at some point he looks like he's going to be the real deal. And we do have to hope. The reality is, let's say this, Jay. I hope it isn't a DJ Moore situation where you can see the talent or a Drake London situation, a Garrett Wilson type situation where you could see the talent is there. Like we could see, we know that if Drake London got a competent quarterback, that there could be great things happening. And he got that this year. We were hoping and praying that Zach Wilson could get something done to Garrett Wilson. And we saw quickly that wasn't going to take shape. And we were excited for Aaron Rodgers. So I'm just really hoping this is not one of those situations where we have to wait 2-3 years to get the full potential of Malik Nabers. And here is why I agree with you. Like, it is not a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson because those guys had quarterbacks from day one. Yeah. Jamar Chase had Joe Burrow. Justin Jefferson had Kirk Cousins. This is a different beast. And as excited as I am for Malik Nabers, I just talked to him in the airport. That's my boy.
You did.
I should. He asked for my number. I told him, hey, I'm busy, but we'll catch back up later. He did. He said.
He asked for your number.
He said, hey, man, I enjoyed this conversation, big bro. Like, you live out here. You know, do you mind if I connect with you? And I was like, hey, Malik, I got wake ups on Mondays, but you know what I'm saying? Get at me. But I'd be lying if I said that there isn't a little bit of that Drake London vibe because you don't really know what Daniel Jones is going to be. And if it's not him, chances are Daboll's not there. And then you've got another rookie quarterback and potentially the growing pains there. So I am enthusiastic and excited for Malik Nabers, but I'm praying that he is not going to have to endure the similar type of path that DJ Moore and Garrett Wilson and some of these other receivers are having to deal with.
Yeah, I want to bring up Garrett Wilson because I think what people need to realize is like that to me is almost the bull case for Malik Nabers. And it's not because I don't think the production can't be there, But Garrett Wilson, his rookie season, 147 targets, 1,100 yards, 4 touchdowns, right? 83 receptions if you care about receptions. Like, I think that would be a pretty good season given the circumstance for Malik Nabers. And I believe he can do that. But the question is he going to see that type of volume in the offense? That's the biggest question. If he sees that, I think everyone should be all in and buying whatever dip you can get. Because Garrett Wilson, you can compare them, but Garrett Wilson is looking like he's going to have a big year with Aaron Rodgers, assuming he stays healthy, right? We talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Garrett Wilson is the guy that I personally believe is undervalued because he can perform like a stud, and the target volume is going to be there because he's always seen that volume. If Nabers can see the volume floor that we expect from a Garrett Wilson, even in the rookie season, that's great, because you look at DJ Moore and you talked about him, rookie season, who was on his team? Christian McCaffrey. So no kidding he didn't get the ball that much. It's going to be more difficult for him. Malik Nabers is going to have plenty of opportunity. It's can he get to that elite opportunity to where at that point the production won't matter, because you know at some point he's going to get a quarterback and it's going to click. It's just a matter of if not when, and I hope that can happen in his rookie season. I'm just not personally betting on it right now.
Jay, do you want to see something wild that I saw the other day when I was looking for plays for NCAA for college football 25?
What, you were looking up meta plays, you rat?
Well, no, I was just looking at some different but this is completely irrelevant to everything that we're talking about. But think about this backfield. This is how old we are. There was a world where Cam Newton, Jonathan Stewart, and Christian McCaffrey all ran like a triple option in Carolina.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's crazy. CMC, Cam, Jay Stu.
And that's like a pretty close to prime Cam, right?
Yeah, I was like,
Stu being on the way out, but like he was still good, which is crazy.
We say this. It reminds you that like these guys come and go quickly.
Yeah.
Like, we play this dynasty game. We'll have them for their career, and before you know it, like they're gone. They're out of the league. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're here 1 minute, scoring us all these points. We're drafting them round 1, and they're gone the next. It's crazy. But yeah, I derailed everything to pull up that. Let's go back to some more hype, Jay, because somebody was talking. Can we get? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to provide bias to the poll. I just want to put it up and see what people think. There's a lot of conversation about this player, Jay. A lot of conversation about Buffalo Bills rookie Keon Coleman, Jay Rich. And when training camp started, the first 12 hours of training camp, the reports were, he's a bust. He's running with the eighth string wide receivers. And then after that first 36 hours, all I've seen is the connection and how good he looks with Josh Allen. And he's on the field in 11 personnel and on the field in 3x1 sets. There's a Bills Cover 1 reporter that talked about when they went out there in their 11 personnel. It was Dalton Kincaid. You had Keon Coleman out there as the X. Jay, I'm just asking the question, man. Are people a little out over their anti-Keon Coleman skis, or are you not buying this Keon Coleman hype right now? Where are you at with Keon?
So I personally was not the biggest fan of Keon coming out. I'll openly admit that. But it's one of those situations where sometimes you need to trust the team. You need to trust the quarterback, which is most important. Like the thing that people just forget, Ray, and it blows my mind, is that you still need a quarterback to get you the ball. I love Malik Nabers, but if you're telling me that you're getting Keon Coleman and Malik Nabers the same amount of targets, there is absolutely a world where Keon Coleman can outperform Malik Nabers because the throws that he's going to get from Josh Allen are 4, 5, 6 times better than he'll get from Daniel Jones. And so that's where you look at Keon and you say, what is the ceiling for Keon? It's like, well, you've seen it. Josh Allen has supported wide receiver ones, double-digit touchdown ceilings. And I think the biggest thing with Keon, more importantly, is that he can be a weapon in the red zone that they do not have, period. Like, they have the tight ends, and they will have their role, but outside, on the boundary, on the perimeter, if they're not scheming up plays for Kincaid, for Knox outside, those opportunities are all going to go to Keon Coleman because they literally don't have anyone else on the roster. I believe they also have Chase Claypool, who we know is a big body receiver who can do some things like that. But ultimately, if you're going to bet on a receiver to have double touchdowns in this offense, it's probably going to be Keon Coleman, and that ceiling is something that is worth betting on for the price right now. And so while I wasn't the biggest fan, and I understand the separation concerns, you also have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL throwing him the ball, and that's a situation that you want to bet on. Now, I think there is some question marks about the scheme because they're probably going to run a lot like they did in the second half with Joe Brady. But even with that, there still is some potential value to be had for Keon Coleman. So I'm definitely buying the hype because there's no reason to pump up this guy unless he's actually performing well. And if he's on the field as the X for Josh Allen, that is a receiver I would bet on 10 times out of 10 because there is always the chance he catches lightning in a bottle.
Listen, right? I am not anti Keon Coleman like that either. He was not one of my personal favorites coming out. Thought he was a bit raw, but he lands in a spot where there's going to be opportunity abundant. And this is not the Buffalo Bills are not in game playing mode. They need to go get it. You know, Sean McDermott and company need to go get it. And offensively, and you talked about Dalton Kincaid, one of the reports that I saw from @Sal Sports, so much is made of Dalton Kincaid's hands. They are great, but early in 11-on-11 work, he took short passes, got upfield really quickly. His speed and burst throughout the camp has been very noticeable. One of the fastest players on the field with the ball in his hands. Like, Dalton Kincaid is getting pumped up. I think this is going to be the Josh Allen, Kincaid, James Cook show. I don't know what Keon Coleman, what the production is going to be. I'm not even going to try to
100%.
Anticipate 100%. That. A lot of people are always going to, but I'm not going there. He's going to be on the field. There's going to be opportunity, and he does provide a skill set. And this is why, for me, Jay, GPS tracking data is so much more important than the results of the NFL Combine because Keon Coleman was one of the fastest players. I think the fastest player in the gauntlet drill. His GPS tracking data was very quick. On-field drills were very fast. And you're seeing that translate to the football field because in team drills, he's scoring touchdowns down the field with Josh Allen. I'm not going to fade this situation, right? I'm not going to be overweight on Keon Coleman because there is still some personal bias that still want to see it happen, but I'm not going to miss out on potential fantasy scoring because I didn't like the player more than as much as I did Malik Nabers, or I didn't like him as much as I did this player or that player. I still recognize the opportunity that's going to be presented to him, and I want to be able to capitalize and on those fantasy points if that's so in fact plays out. And you didn't have to spend some first-round pick on Keon Coleman. I'll just say I'm in. I'm in. With Buffalo at cost, what you had to pay for him, I'm fine with taking a shot on Keon Coleman.
So question for you, Ray. 675 yards is his over-under, or you could go 700. How do you feel about that number? Do you think he can overperform or underperform that number?
Didn't Josh Downs do that? That's what Josh Downs did last year. I think Downs was like 771, something around that range. If he's going to be out there in three wide receiver sets, if he's going to play that allotment of snaps, that should be where he should be able to hit that number. He should be. We'll see. If not, that will not be good. And then you move on. But you spend a second-round pick on Coleman. I'm willing to make a little bit of a bet on Keon. Let's go with another failed wide receiver of the past that just like cockroach, man. People are still in, Jay. People are still in. You ready for this one?
I don't know.
Oh, that J-Mo. Look at that. J-Mo just sucking that ball right in out of the air, man. Just nice. Look at this. Look at this toss. Look at it. There's no hands. Just let it drop right into the belly. J-Mo burning the damn Lions defense down the field, and apparently he's been getting down the field often during Lions training camp. Jay Rich, they traded up for this man like 7 years ago. They traded up. Even with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the roster, they said, we need that J-Mo. How you feeling? You buying some J-Mo hype going into year 7?
I don't think so. I really don't. It's one of those situations that you want to believe because you know that the role, if he plays it and plays well, will be good. But, I mean, we got Sam Laporta, we got Jahmyr Gibbs, we got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, they do all kind of operate in a similar range of the field, and J-Mo's the kind of only guy that can go out and stretch the field. But I think the opportunity is going to be limited, right? And at this point, they're really trying to make sure that he's not a complete bust, right? Because to this point, he's been a complete bust. No, Ray, they're holding on hope that this guy is going to be something. And to be fair, I definitely agree that all the reports about J-Mo have been great. Everything we've heard is J-Mo's
been good. Give him his props, man. Give him his credit.
You can question his food takes all you want, but he has been great when he's on the field. The question is, how often is he going to be on the field, right? And how often do they utilize him? He's a great talent. He's great for the offense, but he's one of those players that is much better for the offense in the scheme to help stretch the field, to stretch DBs, to open things up for the other players more so than I think I want him for fantasy football. But he will definitely have his weeks, absolutely. But it's not something I'm buying because it's not going to be enough opportunity for me personally.
But he's the type of player that doesn't need a whole bunch of it. Right, doesn't need a whole bunch, especially if you're in best ball. I'm buying. I don't need J-Mo to go out there and give me 12 targets a week. I need him to do the thing that he does well: stretch the field, make explosive plays. And I think, Jay, I just think now, did he played towards the end of his rookie season, correct? Like towards the end, he got on the field. I think he played a little bit down the stretch because he scored a touchdown that had people
and then 12 games.
And he barely kind of really played that first season. They had him on the field. He did a little
catch,
bit.
Right? So that one touchdown you're referring to is the only thing he did all year.
So then last year was his first full year, correct? Like last year was his first full, and I'm using air quotes.
Week 4.
Because he got suspended, right? Wasn't he suspended?
Oh, yeah, the gambling suspension, right?
He was suspended.
But then it's 3 targets, 6 targets, 3 targets, 2 targets, 2 targets.
Well, here's the thing.
3, right?
Here's the thing, Jay. This is the thing. When he kind of screwed himself. The injury, he can't help that. You got injured. You're going to be what you are. I mean, we're even seeing players like Nick Chubb and TJ Hawkinson. They're talking about those guys not being ready at the start of the season. But the fact that he got suspended to start the second year at the beginning, why the hell am I going to even spend time installing plays for you the first month of the season when I know you're not going to be here? You know, it is real. Your best ability in the NFL is your availability. And when you're not there, you hear what Dennis Allen is saying about Kendre Miller right now. We think he's talented. We want to see him play, but he has got to be on the field. We can't put anything in for you if you're not here. So, yeah, it doesn't shock me that J-Mo was not involved in the offense early because there were probably only a limited number of things that he could do starting out and as the season progressed. And the Lions were winning. Like, we're doing good. I'm not about to jam you out here and screw things up. It's got to happen this year for J-Mo. Am I buying the hype? I would say I don't think I'm buying the hype, but I'm not out on Jameson Williams either. I'm not out on him yet. I understand that football is it's not an escalator ride up. It's not just linear. You don't just get drafted, and if you're good, it just goes like this forever. There are pockets and moments where you've got great players that struggle a season because of circumstance, environment, quarterback, coaching, health. We'll see what happens with J-Mo this year. We'll see. He's a part of a great offense. He is not the number one, so the expectation level now is shifted from being like a 1,400-yard first-round receiver to just be good. Just go help out Amon-Ra and get down the field and do something. We'll see how it plays out, man. We'll see how it plays out, but good to know that he is out there not gambling and not injured in 2020 going into the 2024 season.
Can I give you a would you rather real quick? Because we do have a player we just talked about and Jameson Williams in a very similar range. And you say in best ball, you take a shot. 4 receivers, Ray. Keon Coleman of the Buffalo Bills, Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings, Jameson Williams of the Detroit Lions, and often talked about in the chat, if you notice that, Curtis Samuel of the Buffalo Bills. So we have 2 Bills receivers, a Minnesota Vikings receiver who had a great rookie season, and Jameson Williams. Who do you think you would take, and how would you rank those players? Because they got different skill sets, different opportunities, and especially different quarterback play. We can
Dynasty
do both.
Or redraft?
We can do both. Let's say for 2024, just for this
2024 season. And you said Addison, Coleman,
Curtis Samuel,
Jameson Williams,
and J-Mo. I don't know how you rank J-Mo ahead of number 4.
Sam Darnold scares the hell out of me, man.
That's a big question mark, right? Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy doesn't matter, right? We don't feel confident either way. It's a problem.
Samuel, 1.
Okay.
Coleman, Addison, J-Mo, but I don't feel Addison being the number 2 with Darnold scares me. I'd be a lot more interested if you, of course, it wouldn't be this, but Justin Jefferson. I don't know about the number 2 with Darnold. I don't know, man. That's one where I try to find another range. Give me a running back in that range. That was a hard would you rather, Jay. Let's have some fun now. Your boys. We saved your boys for last.
Let's go. I've been waiting.
Well, it's not last, but we saved your boys for last. And this is, Jay, the quarterback situation is very shaky. We don't know yet. But that boy out of South Carolina, Xavier Legette, Rich. Xavier Legette. From South Carolina. That's Xavier Legette, baby.
Who's that?
The South Carolina. Xavier Legette. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Jay.
I know what you're saying.
Reports are, I don't know what he's saying, but reports are he looks damn good on the football field, showing rapport and connection with Bryce Young early and often. I told you, when we go live for like the week 1 of the NFL season, we're going to have Xavier Legette jerseys on. I'm going to get us Xavier.
Hell yeah, we are.
I love Xavier Legette. Jay Rich, we got to meet him at the Senior Bowl, and one of the things that I don't think people understand is how freaking big this dude is. He is he is a tank out there at wide receiver, and he is very fast. And it seems like Dave Canales is going to have him on the field early, Jay. He was a first-round pick. He can run the ball. He's big. He's fast. The Panthers have nobody that can separate. Kill the music and talk about Xavier Legette, baby.
Ray, I don't want to get all over my skis here, but dare I say, can he be a Legette winner? Nothing. I did my best. It was okay. I'll take an okay. So the big thing for me with Legette is that what I'm seeing and what I'm liking is that whatever they're doing with him and what we're seeing in practice is maximizing his skill set, right?
Yes,
you look at what he does well. It's up high, it's over the defender, it's over the middle, it's short passes where he can run after the catch. Like, people who didn't watch receiver, Deebo Samuel went back to South Carolina, and there was a whole little piece with him talking to Xavier Legette and talking about him coming to the league and what to expect from him and mentoring him. So, as you know, as much as I love Legette just like as a player and you know, meeting him, talking to him like a great dude, knowing that he's being somewhat mentored by Deebo, that could further his development as well, right? Like, you don't hear about this stuff and you don't see it a lot, but these type of things can make a difference. And when you have a coach like Canales that we love, you know, Bryce Young kind of excluded here, who is going to maximize the skill set of his players, I believe there is a world where Legette is 100% relevant. It's going to be in the second half, more likely than not, but it's a bet I would absolutely be willing to make, because the other point of this, Ray, and I talk about this all the time, the reason why I have for 3 years on this show and any show I will come on, I continuously say, as much as DK Metcalf is slightly overvalued, I will continue to buy because people simply love that guy. And you're talking Keon Coleman, you're talking Xavier Legette, and people love these guys. And so when they boom and they produce, their value only goes up higher and higher. And that's where, when I talk about Legette, I could see a world where he has a DK Metcalf type of season, because Dave Canales was there when DK Metcalf was drafted, and he did help develop him as a wide receiver. And you look at what he's going to do, I think you could see a similar type of development. It may be a little bit longer, but I'm very much in on Xavier Legette. How about you, though, my friend? Are you buying shares? Are you loving yourself some Legette? I need to see some more weather reports from Xavier. And you know what's crazy, too? I didn't even take in that people call him XL, and that is sick. Like, that is so dope.
He seems like, I hope he's good. He's a fun player. I hope he's good. On Jameson Williams, really quickly, this was Colton Pouncey from The Athletic. This is what was said about Jameson Williams. It's still early, but at this point, Jameson Williams is firmly entrenched as one of the guys. This is the best I've seen him look with Jared Goff. Williams has been getting open against the secondary routinely. He's been getting the ball on end arounds. He's coming off the sideline after a series and picking the brain of Jared Goff or Ben Johnson. I'm just glad that he's on the field and he's getting action and he seems to be integrated in the offense. But okay, Now hit the music because we saved the hype for last because this is your boy, Jay Rich. It's really my boy because I was talking about him first.
Really?
But yes, but he has become your boy. And, we've
I put
got to
money
do this.
down.
You put money down, so he's your bet. You put money down that he'll lead the team. So let's talk about Ladarius. Lad McConkey, Jay. Look at that.
One of the most ridiculous throws you'll ever see.
I mean, what was
Like, that's pretty crazy.
That's just a dumb throw. That is just ridiculous.
It is.
That's
It
just.
is.
I'm looking at the throw. What would? First of all, what would even cause? It's one thing to do that whenever Xavier Worthy is streaking down the field by himself.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is doing this in a condensed area. That's just silly. But Lad McConkey, Jay, and let me read what was said about Lad McConkey, and this is from Eric_L Smith, beat reporter from the Chargers. On a day where the starting group on both sides of the ball went against each other without pads, it was the Herbert to McConkey connection that stood out. So, what do you think about Lad, man? Where are you at? I know you think that he's going to lead this team in receptions and yards and all that other good stuff, but talk about Lad McConkey, and hasn't been a ton of buzz, but over the past couple of days, he's starting to pick up a little more steam.
Yeah, I mean, this is really the fear with a player like Lad who comes to a situation where, the Chargers are going to run the ball a lot, but they still are going to have to pass at some point, and you're hoping that it's more Ladarius McConkey than it is Joshua Palmer. And we obviously have our bet, but the thing is with this is you want to see him getting on the field early because he was a high draft pick. You want to see him getting targets in practice, and you want to see him building the rapport with Justin Herbert, because if he can be this safety valve slot type of receiver to complement Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnson on the outside, and Herbert loves him, then he's going to be fantasy relevant. The problem with McConkey, honestly, is that a lot of people are in on him, and it's like the hype train is off the rails, and it is already just going wild. And so that's where you talk about the situation and where you may have to draft him and what you expect. Like, the expectations are only going higher and higher. Now, when you look at the books, it's very modest, about 750 yards. His lines are fine. And again, but if he did that, I think people will be disappointed because they expect this 900-yard, 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdown receiver. But we'll see. I'm very excited, obviously, for McConkey. That throw over defenders, between defenders. You thought it was Quentin Johnson. McConkey comes out of nowhere to make the play.
Yeah, it was a crazy
It's phenomenal to see in practice. And I remember Zach Wilson saying, you try and fit these into tight windows in practice, and then you know what you can do in the game, right? And that's kind of what Herbert's doing there. But it's great to see that type of connection, and I'm very excited for it this season. I just don't know if the hype train is going to get out of control for Lad, because it's only week 1. And in my opinion, it's only getting started, but very excited. I'd still be drafting him everywhere. There's an extremely high ceiling for me. The issue for him will be the touchdowns and potentially the yardage as well if a lot is underneath, but I like the floor and I like the potential opportunity of Lad McConkey in his rookie season.
There's so much to talk about. I mean, we could do 3 hours just to go through all of the training camp news and notes. Really quickly, let's go a little bit of rapid fire here, Jay, and just tell me, are you buying any of this hype or are you full fade? Dylan Lobb from the Las Vegas Raiders getting some don't roll your eyes. Dylan Lobb getting some buzz that he's going to be on the field. And Zamir White, you want to fade Zamir White and get that Dylan Lobb. Any thoughts there quickly?
No, I would not be doing that. I would not be doing that.
Okay. There are also reports out of Carolina Panthers camp that Deontay Johnson is continuing to do what he did in Pittsburgh, which is drop the damn ball. Is this a problem for you if you're a Deontay Johnson truther, which you are?
I am a Deontay Johnson truther, but no, it is not a problem because if he sees 150 targets, then we are going to be just fine.
Okay. Let me ask you about Kendre Miller, the aforementioned running back of the New Orleans Saints, who is still not practicing because he is injured. Is it over for Kendre Miller, Jay Rich?
Yeah, I'm fine saying it's over. I don't think it's going to happen. And especially with the class incoming at running back, the Saints have lots of opportunities to find another Kendre Miller, right?
Jay Rich, Dallas Cowboys' future starting quarterback Trey Lance has apparently not looked very good in practice. I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking the question because there's still people out here who think he has gotten royally screwed over by the San Francisco 49ers, and he still deserves to be a starting quarterback, maybe in Dallas after Dak Prescott. Do you have any interest in burning a roster spot on Trey Lance in Dynasty?
I do not personally. No, I would not be. Would you be burning a roster spot on Trey Lance? I love
No.
how we say, "Are you burning it?" But like,
No.
it's clear how we feel about it.
No. A couple of other training camp notes. Rashad Bateman getting a lot of pump from old John Harbaugh.
I'm not buying it, man.
Okay, I just
Come
had to
on.
ask.
Like,
I mean,
but what do you feel about it though? Because it just sounds like a bunch of BS. Didn't he say that he can be the best receiver in the league at a press conference? Like, come on, man. Like, be a little bit
not,
real.
Yeah, that's not realistic.
You just paid him like $5 million, and he's going to be your best receiver and the best. Like, I think the problem with me, Ray, is that with the price, there is a reason to buy because I think there is potential there in that offense. Is Bateman going to be that guy? That's my biggest problem. Is if they're talking about him like this, we know the price is low because no one really believes. Maybe we should take a couple shots. I'm not saying I'm buying the hype, but I do think there is potential there with the cost. Do you feel any differently about that?
I just want Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers. I will leave it at that. If I have a Rashad Bateman and there's somebody in my league that is bought into the hype, I would have no problem moving him. I'll leave it at that. And Jay, the last little piece of, I mean, there's so much, man. We could talk about the Raiders quarterback battle. Braylon Allen is apparently looking good at New York Jets camp. Is there any burning thing that
Allen?
Word is he looks good. He's catching passes. He looks big as shit. He's fast. We've all known these things. Anything that Roman Wilson, that was one of them. Roman Wilson, Jay, are you buying Roman Wilson?
So,
come on, man. Why are you looking like that?
Because I feel like I'm a Roman Wilson hater. But I'm just not buying that the wide receiver 2 is relevant in Arthur Smith's
anything
offense.
that has to do with Justin Fields, you were just out on.
You know what's funny, right? And since we're here now, so we're talking Fields. I was looking at his comeback player of the year odds. They're like 40-1. And I almost tweeted out, we need Justin Fields to win comeback player of the year so someone can tweet out, what did he come back from? Sucking? Right? Classic. But yeah, no, I'm not in on Arthur Smith's wide receiver 2. It's never valuable. It's just not. It's Pickens or bust. I like the running backs. It's not worth it to me.
Okay. All right.
I'm excited to see what he does, but I don't think he's going to do much of anything in the offense.
Oh, Jay,
who would you even compare him to? Like of players that Arthur Smith has coached, there's not really a parallel for Roman Wilson.
I don't know who I would compare him to, but the reports where he looked good at practice. The bigger issue is Russell Wilson's not practicing, and Justin Fields is the one that's out there taking all the reps with the big dogs. I think Wilson was back on the field yesterday, but not full go. The last player that I want to talk about, I wasn't going to do it because I kind of want to keep it a little bit hidden under the radar so I can try to scoop them up myself. But I've been talking about this team, and we continue to talk about betting on good offenses, good quarterbacks, good situations. Well, apparently there's a good situation brewing with one of the best play callers in the NFL, one Sean McVay. And, when we're playing underdog fantasy and you're just drafting Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and DeMarcus Robinson, as those are going to be the only 3 wide receivers that are on the field, reports are observations from beat reporters in Los Angeles. And I quote, I mentioned rookie wide receiver Jordan Whittington as one of my sleepers ahead of the season and was watching practice Wednesday reaffirm that opinion. Whittington can clearly take on a variety of roles in McVay's offense. It will be hard for him to legitimately crack the starting offense during the regular season unless there's an injury, but it's apparent that the Rams are preparing him to take on more responsibility if needed. Jordan Whittington, a very unique prospect out of Texas, coming out of high school, right out here, from Aledo, right outside of my where I live at. He played both running back and receiver at the University of Texas, sort of that running back receiver, bigger, souped-up version of Curtis Samuel. But this is a player, if you listen to Sean McVay's his latest podcast on The Athletic, talking about players and deployment and usage, there were some really good nuggets in there from Sean McVay himself. This is an offense where Cooper Kupp is not in a model of health, Jay Rich. And then the receivers behind him, after Puka Nacua, you got Puka, Cooper Kupp, and you're dependent on DeMarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell. I've taken some shots on Jordan Whittington. I will continue to take a few little stabs at Whittington. No, I do not believe he's the next coming of a Puka Nacua or anything to that nature. But betting on a player who's going to get some potential opportunity in a good offense, I like what I'm hearing about young Jordan Whittington, man.
Yeah, an OG of Destination Devy podcast, right?
He
I want to say
is,
one
man.
of your first or second episodes, you were talking about them recruiting and bringing in Jordan Whittington to Texas, and obviously he had a great career there. But yeah, I think the one thing is Sean McVay's creativity in the offense. DeMarcus Robinson's potential role in the offense was sort of solidified at the end of the season. But as you mentioned, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, that's basically it. And for a team that runs 11 personnel 95% of the time, even if they're only on the field, those are guys that you want to have on your roster, because as much as we didn't see anything from Alec Pierce last season, he was on the field a lot, and if there was an injury, there was opportunity coming his way. And so I think you want to look at a similar situation. And as well, Sean McVay has not shown to be unwilling to play young players. So if they're ready to play and he thinks they're ready to play, they will be on the field and they will see a lot of volume. So I think it's valuable to take a shot on a player like him. I thought you were going to go to Dendrick Prince, who's getting hyped up as the running back too in Kansas City.
We'll talk about Prince then. We'll talk about Dendrick. You buying this? You buying Dendrick Prince?
I think I'd be willing to buy a little bit, yeah, because I think the biggest thing with Pacheco is that he does get banged up from time to time, and if there is a guy who's going to be a pass catcher, I believe that Dendrick Prince was a good pass catcher and a speed score savant too. Like he was a guy who had crazy metrics in terms of his speed score and stuff like that.
Speed score.
You know, those things that people look for in those late round running backs. I believe he checked a lot of boxes there, had good production, had good speed score, all that stuff. Has the size, has the physique, all that stuff to carry the workload. And Pacheco hasn't been a model of health. He's missed a couple games here and there. And so if you want to take a shot on a guy who could be their RB2, we'll see, right? We may see some Sky Moore in the backfield a little bit, just them getting creative with the offense, because they do have a lot of playmakers. We've seen Kadarius Toney be utilized in the backfield as well. So that RB2 role isn't necessarily going to be a fruitful one, but if you were to bet on a guy, I'm willing to believe in the reports and what could be if the opportunity came in Dendrick Prince.
And isn't it crazy, man? We want that Dendrick Prince opportunity, but that Xavier Worthy opportunity, I don't want it. No thank you for Xavier Worthy, but give me all that Dendrick Prince. Isn't that something, man? That speed score, Jay. There it is. That's the show, Jay Rich. Hit the music. Hit the music. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Jay Rich, anything you want to say to people? I'm not going to let you close it out today. I will get it because I screwed up your intro. Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here, Jay?
I just hope everyone has a phenomenal week.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
Dude,
that was definitely not intentional. That was not intentional. Go ahead, man. That's my bad. Go ahead. That's my bad. I didn't even laugh because that was on my bad. Go ahead.
But I hope everyone has a good week. I hope you tune in. And Ray, I think we need to get Debro back on the show soon. We were talking about that. But most importantly, make sure you tap into the show. Do not fall for the camp clips. Do not make ridiculous trades. And if you need a second opinion, patreon.com/allgas and join the Destination Devy community where we talk this stuff all day, every day. And you don't have to deal with all the noise on Twitter. We will figure it out. We will talk about it. Heisman tier is the place to be. But Ray, let the people know what you're saying and what we got going on for the rest of the week.
Yeah, appreciate you, Jay. Appreciate everybody tapping in the stream over here on Wake Up. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like the content. Stick around. We got more announcements coming, more dope stuff along the way. Check out all the content we're doing, all our content creators. We love y'all. Thank y'all. Moggs, Jimbo, Robert, Allen. Who else is in here? Rico. I see Mitch in the building. Shout out Dynasty Theory. Garrison, what's up? Is it, who's this? Balls Life FF, Jeff, Robert, man. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next Monday. Whenever I find the thing, I need to find the outro, Jay, and I'm by myself. This is tough. This is tough. Love y'all. We out. Peace.